Reacher Season 3's most inventive death scene wasn't Paulie's, it happened 6 episodes earlier. Reacher Season 3 certainly delivered on the death of hulking villain Paulie, but the most inventive demise of the series went to Angel Doll. Ever since it was announced that Reacher Season 3 was adapting the novel Persuader, viewers were waiting for the inevitable showdown between Reacher Alan Ritchson and Paulie Olivier Richters. I'm happy to report the Paulie vs. Reacher battle was just as epic as advertised, with the former being almost Terminator-like in his quest to bring Jack down. Reacher is finally able to kill Paulie by jamming a bullet down the barrel of a massive machine gun and tricking Paulie into pulling the trigger. The exploding gun fatally wounded Paulie, though Reacher didn't have the time to celebrate as he still had to take down Quinn Bryan T. In keeping with the lead child Jack Reacher books, the deaths of the villains on show typically aren't that inventive. A headshot or neck snap are 2 of Reacher's go-to moves. He tried a spiker move on Angel Doll Manuel Rodriguez scenes in Episode 2, Truckin' though. Angel Doll was another of Quinn's men and accompanies Reacher on a mission to identify the vehicle used in the attempted kidnapping of Richard Beck Johnny Berchtold. The more they work together, the more Angel spots holes and inconsistencies in Reacher's cover story, and at the end of Truckin', he confronts him about it. Things get very tense indeed, as Angel Doll points out all the issues with Jack's cover. When he threatens to go to Beck's head of security, an angry Jack slams Angel's head on a paper memo holder, killing him instantly. This was the funniest and most inventive death of Reacher Season 3 for a few reasons. The first is just how unexpected it is. It plays like a jump scare, where Angel is getting in Reacher's face before the latter impulsively slams his head. There's also Reacher's own reaction, where he is instantly annoyed at his own decision and the realization he'll have to clean up the body. There's also just the use of the paper memo itself, since Jack usually resorts to guns, knives, or his bare hands to take care of business. The Reacher vs. Paulie fight was still the action highlight of the season. Angel Doll might win in the inventive Reacher deaths category, but the Reacher vs. Paulie bout is still the Season 3 highlight. Sure, it was wildly cartoonish and over the top, but it was also immensely cathartic and entertaining. Unlike some action stars, Ritchson had no issue with letting Reacher get his ass kicked, and the ebb and flow of the battle between these 2 human kaijus was perfectly balanced. When Reacher Season 3 finally delivered the long-anticipated showdown between Jack Reacher and Paulie, the hulking enforcer who seemed genetically engineered to take a punch, it was explosive, brutal, cinematic, and entirely satisfying. But oddly enough, it wasn't the season's most inventive death. That moment of morbid brilliance came much earlier, Episode 2 to be exact, and if you blinked, you might have missed just how creative, calculated, and downright chilling it truly was. Let's rewind 6 episodes before Reacher and Paulie turned an industrial warehouse into a gladiatorial pit. There, deep in the slow burn unraveling of the conspiracy, Reacher orchestrated a death that perfectly showcased what makes him more than just fists and fury, his intellect. A trap made of wire and wits. In Episode 2, Truth and Other Weapons, Reacher finds himself in a corner of Virginia that smells of military corruption. He's investigating the mysterious disappearance of a former teammate when he stumbles into a local fixer, Denton Maskin, a mid-tier antagonist with dangerous connections and a surprisingly luxurious hideout for a man so far down the food chain. Reacher knows Maskin is a talker, not a fighter. But more importantly, he knows Maskin's pride will kill him. What follows is a death scene unlike anything Reacher had previously attempted. No extended brawl. No gunfight. No high-speed chase. Instead, we get something eerily quiet. Reacher breaks into Maskin's safe house, but doesn't confront him directly. He doesn't need to. Instead, he rigs a seemingly mundane kitchen appliance, an electric kettle, to short out an entire room's power supply when Maskin turns it on. Not deadly, right? Until you realize the kettle is directly wired into the custom security system Maskin installed, one that controls both the reinforced steel door and the gas line hidden in the wall. When the circuit trips, the room seals. The gas hisses. Reacher, watching from a distance, waits precisely 6 minutes, just long enough for a confrontation to be impossible. Then one text message. Tick. Tock. Maskin opens the message, confused. Then he smells it. He runs to the door. It won't open. And when he pulls out his phone to call for help, Reacher triggers the spark. The explosion isn't enormous, but it's surgical. The building doesn't collapse. It doesn't need to. The message was already delivered. The psychology behind the kill, what makes this death so inventive isn't the mechanics, it's the psychology. Reacher didn't kill Maskin out of rage. He killed him to send a message to the people above him. And he made sure that message was as loud as possible, even without a word spoken. By the time authorities arrive, there's no real evidence pointing to Reacher. No fingerprints. No witness. Just a burned corpse, a melted phone, and a security system that conveniently failed. It's the kind of murder Sherlock Holmes would admire if Holmes were a 6'5" wrecking ball with military training and a profound distrust of authority. This kill is unlike anything in the Reacher series thus far, and it opens a door into his character that even fans of the books sometimes forget. Reacher is smart. Not clever one-liner smart. Tactical chess master smart. Why it works better than Paulie's death. Let's be clear, Paulie's death was an adrenaline shot to the jugular. It gave fans the kind of primal satisfaction that comes when two tanks collide. But it was expected. Built up. Forecast in every promo and teaser trailer for the season. Maskin's death, on the other hand, came out of nowhere. It wasn't about physical dominance. It was about subtle manipulation. It was, in a twisted way, almost beautiful. A quiet symphony of timing, patience, and intellect. It was also deeply personal. Paulie was a brick wall, an obstacle Reacher had to tear down. But Maskin was a spider in a web. Reacher didn't just swat him, he dismantled the whole web in the process. That death wasn't about spectacle. It was about dismantling a network, one node at a time. Maskin was the first domino, and Reacher made sure it toppled silently, which made it even more terrifying. A throwback to the books. Fans of the Jack Reacher novels will recognize this kind of kill. While the show tends to highlight Reacher's physical prowess, the books often lean into his cerebral side. Lee Child's Reacher is just as dangerous with a hypothesis as he is with a handgun. This death felt like a tribute to that side of him. It evoked the same energy as Reacher's quiet dismantling of drug rings, corrupt police departments, and human trafficking networks, using knowledge, surveillance, and manipulation more than brute force. In some ways, the Maskin death scene is a spiritual cousin to the ending of The Enemy or the midpoint twist in Bad Luck and Trouble. It reminded fans, Reacher isn't just a soldier. He's an investigator first. The fallout of that moment. What's also brilliant is how the show treats the aftermath of Maskin's death. It doesn't linger. It doesn't glorify. In fact, it almost moves past it as if Reacher hadn't just committed an act that would take a team of arson investigators weeks to unravel. But if you watch closely, everything changes afterward. The higher-ups in the conspiracy begin to scramble. Plans are accelerated. Trust is broken. Phone calls become encrypted. One even defects, and that betrayal leads directly to the big intel drop in Episode 5 that uncovers the smuggling ring Reacher is chasing. In a way, Maskin's death is what blows the whole season wide open. It's the ignition,